And, one of the things I've stressed with our team is that, look, when we're working, let's enjoy working hard together. Let's enjoy this process of us trying to chase championships and excellence. And if we can do that, I'm a big believer in the scores are relevant in terms of the expectations of how we box out, how we hustle, the shots we take, all of those things. And so, if we can keep doing those things, I've liked our approach so far, and I think our group understands. They understand that we just got to keep getting better.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank. If you're thinking about starting a business or know someone who is, check out Emprise Bank's SBA loans. It's always good to know your options, and they can be your partner in possible.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Run It Back here on KCSN. It's good to see y'all again. I know hopefully it's good to hear my voice again because, it's been a long week. I know it's been last week since, of course, y'all heard my voice. I get that, but it's been a long one. Hell, it's been a real busy week for you, girl. I work in the news, and damn it, this week was election week. That in itself was stressful, okay? So bear with me, okay? Bear with me. But look here. I like to get into the nitty gritty, okay? Because, last week, y'all heard me in the show talking about K-State women's basketball. That was before their exhibition game against Washburn. And obviously, they'd had 3 games since then, 2 of which actually counted towards their record. And damn it, I had every right to be as excited as I was. Because I didn't fully necessarily know what to expect coming into this season. Obviously, it's not necessarily a new team per se, but we sprinkled in a couple of pieces. You know what I mean? This is clearly an experienced team, but this team got a lot of pressure on it. I mean, it still does. Only 3 games in, 2 truly that counts towards their schedule. And there's obviously a butt ton of games still left, but you got impressions for first couple game impressions. We got to see how you take care of the small fries. And they took care of the small fries. That was never truly a problem for this team. I understand you got to wait till the Power 5 conference comes in, or Power 4 conferences come in per se. Add the Big East in there, obviously. But you always look at teams on how they handle the small fries. You see how USC handles somebody. You see how UConn handles somebody. You see all these really predominant, really good programs handle small teams, and that's how they're like, okay, this is, they're doing what they're supposed to do, right? And right now, K-State's in that. K-State has been truly whooping that ass. I wasn't worried that they weren't, but they are just truly, they giving it to them. They giving it to them. You know why? Because I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you why they're giving it to them a little bit more than they did last year, and clearly last year was a damn good year. They didn't necessarily end it with something in the trophy case, but still it was a damn good year nonetheless, okay? But they're doing something this year that they did not do last year and that they did not do for the past 15 seasons, okay? And that is scoring more than 80 points in back-to-back games. They have not done that. I saw that was posted by ESPNW just last night because they scored 92 points against Green Bay. They scored 82 points against Belmont, and they said this is the second time that K-State has done that in 15 seasons. I didn't notice. This was news. This was news to me because last season they didn't score 80 points until 10 games into the season when they scored 101 against McNeese State, 101-39. I talked about that game a lot last year too. I didn't realize this. And by the way, scoring 92 points and 82 points, we essentially did that with Yoki only playing a combined 10 minutes. Okay? She only played 10 minutes in the first game against Green Bay, scored 7 points there. I think, 4 rebounds in that game. I think she tweaked her ankle a little bit, and so out of precaution, they sat her down, and they sat her down for this past game as well to make sure keep our All-American healthy. By all means, you are not going to hear me complain about that. You saw how detrimental, her injury was. Not necessarily it was a bad injury, but when she went down for those 7 games last season, that's when everything took a turn. Everything seemed to go backwards. A time where this was the number 2 team in the country. They were hotter than fish grease. She got hurt, and everything really slowed down from there. Okay, so You want to make sure she's good. You want to make sure she's good and make sure she's good early. You know what I mean? And now this team has an opportunity to see, like, all right, how y'all gonna play now that Yoki's not out there? And they essentially, there's no worry with that. You know why? Because the first transfer I'm gonna bring up Kennedy Taylor. That's the reason I think why they brought her in. Because when Yoki was out last season, it was a large step back. It was a large step in games that were the game that was coming easy to them earlier on in the season and into early on conference play. It wasn't as easy in those 7 games where she was gone. And honestly, it wasn't really easy when she eventually came back. It was just, I don't know, it was a groove that they couldn't necessarily get back right into. But now you're dealing with this early, and honestly, that's another smart thing. Not only do you have to watch out for your All-American self, like I said, I will never complain about that, especially this early into the season. But now you got to think, like, okay, what's the lesson? What lesson did we learn in those games that you did not have Yoki? What lessons did we learn on how to be able to play without her? Once again, now you get this transfer, Kennedy Taylor, who has been absolutely dog in these 2 games that she has played, getting 12 points 12 points last game. She had 18 points this game against Belmont with 5 rebounds. She brings a sort of aggressiveness that was missing when Yoki was not on the floor last year. It was kind of like trial by error, trial by fire type of deal. When they didn't have Yoki, they had to go put a small ball 5. They put in a lot of Gisela Sanchez in there with a small ball 5. They did that a lot in this game as well with Belmont. Not necessarily the position that maybe she's supposed to be playing in per se, but that's just something where you need to fill a role. And that's not necessarily where her game is at. So it's kind of like spread the floor out a little bit when it comes on the offensive end of the floor. But you also had let's see. You had Amani Lester. Yes, Amani Lester. She's still kind of green, still kind of new. She came in as a redshirt freshman transfer last year. She didn't really get a whole lot of playing time. Even with Yoki being out, she didn't get a whole lot of playing time. And she didn't necessarily get a whole lot of playing time in this game either against Belmont, but that's not a knock to her. Once again, she's still new to the game. This is the Big 12. Big 12 go crazy. Big 12 always go crazy in a lot of different sports. This is obviously no different, especially now that you added more teams. It's a team that really needed to learn how to play without their best player, which every team is going to eventually have to go through, right? And they just happened to learn it on the fly last year. They made sure that this year will not be the same. They learned from their mistake. That's why they went and go ahead and grab Kennedy Taylor. And this is aggressiveness in the paint that was definitely missing, like I mentioned. But now I got to get to Tamyra Poindexter, transfer out of Tulsa, AAC Player of the Year, a potential WNBA draft pick, another potential WNBA draft pick on this team, mind you. We have potentially 3 with Serena Sundell, Yoki, and Miss Poindexter. Do you know how lit you would be if the men's team had 3 potential NBA draft picks? You'd be lit as hell. So that's what I'm going to do. And clearly already in these first few games, she's already looking like a WNBA draft pick to me, Miss Poindexter. Because, like, girl, are you serious? I mean, we had an idea of what we were getting. The fans didn't have an idea per se of like what all we would get with her. Because, coming in from the Ace and from Tulsa conference, not knocking on the conference. Don't get it twisted. But it's not the Big 12. It's not other Power 4 conferences. You know what I mean? And she still hasn't played any Big 12 teams yet, obviously. But this amount of scoring that we've seen from her these past couple of games already, she's going crazy. Excuse me, I corrected this American Conference when she's coming from Tulsa. She had 23 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. She was 5 from 11 from 3. She was killing them in the first half. Coach Mittie was saying in the, Big 12 media days that she's a very unconventional player. When I was YouTubing her, when I see like WNBA kind of like draft stock just kind of debuting like her type of play, it also says she's very unconventional. You kind of do see that when she's on the floor, what she's able to do. Coach Mittie said that he doesn't not really sure like where can you even put her, and that's probably one of the greatest weapons you could possibly have, and one of the better weapons that's not Ayoka Lee that we have had. once again, not knocking anybody else on this team. This is a very experienced team. Sheree Sundell is one of the ones. The Glenn twins is one of the ones, and we'll get to them a little bit further down into the show. But like this amount of scoring that we've been able to see from her, and it started off hot. She scored 15 points against Green Bay, 2 steals, 4 blocks, 2 assists, 5 rebounds. You heard what I read. You heard what I read. I'm gonna read it again from what Belmont from the game last night. 23 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 from 11 from 3. She got a quick trigger. I didn't know that about her. I didn't. I knew she had a decent 3-point shot when she was at Tulsa. Something that I'm sure she improved on this offseason, because she's gonna obviously have the opportunity to do so, considering that you do have Ayoka Lee there in the paint clogging some things up. That's going to open a lot of spot-up shooting. We've seen that before from other players, obviously, but like, I didn't know she had that quick of a damn trigger. There's little I could say that, like, she just gets me so excited to see her play some more in that unconventional type of play that she has. I know she had a breakaway layup in, I think, the first quarter against Belmont last night, to where there was 2 defenders running with her. She still had like a step and a half, 2 steps on them. But, sometimes the defender will try to foul her at this point, obviously try to block her shot. Instead of going into the bucket, she kind of shot away from the basket, kind of going away from the defense. What player do you really think has seen that? I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that a lot at all. That's just goes into my excitement. I can talk about her. I can talk about this team. I can talk about these last 2 games so much, but I can, because we only have so much amount of time, because I have a really special guest. I have Coach Jeff Mittie joining the show. He joined me a lot last season. He's going to be joining me again today. Can't wait to see him. But first and foremost, I got to tell you about Home Field Apparel. You know the deal. You know the spiel. Okay, you get your hoodies, you get your t-shirts, you get your hats. Doesn't matter if it's K-State or not. They got plenty of universities where you can sport that gear. So please go to homefieldapparel.com, and they will take care of you and all your college team needs. And we'll be right back here on Run It Back.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
All right, y'all, welcome back. Welcome back after a very short break. And I told y'all I have another very special guest. Last week, y'all heard me talk to Coach Mansfield for K-State Volleyball, but now it's Coach Jeff Mittie's turn. He's been on the show plenty of times with me last season. Why not get him again this season? Once again, a damn good team that he's coaching for K-State right now. And Coach, I was talking about it in the first half of the show, how excited I am for this team. Obviously, a lot of experience coming back, a lot of experience coming from the transfer portal as well. And I was just talking about a Tamara Poindexter, to where a lot of K-State fans surely don't know too much about her. They probably haven't watched a whole lot of Tulsa basketball from her, but damn it, man, she's good. You've talked about her being like an unconventional type of player. I think in the Big 12 media days, you were kind of like figure like, where do you even put her? And that's a really good problem to have. But these first 2 games that we've seen her, she's going crazy. She was definitely going crazy last night against Belmont with that quick trigger that I personally did not know that she had. But kind of just talk to me about what her game is going to be bringing to this team this season.
Yeah, she's gotten off to a great start. We've been really pleased with her. She's a player that really is playing that stretch 4 for us, but she'll also play that big wing spot. But really, she's seeing a lot of success in the transition game. You're right. I mean, she's got a quick trigger. We can find her in a lot of different spots on the floor. I think our players are doing a great job. We've got I like the way our veteran guards are moving the basketball right now. I think Tamira is just making a lot of right plays. I think as we go forward, we'll be able to ISO her more. We'll be able to move her into the middle of the floor and make plays. But right now, she's had a great look shooting the ball and really playing with a lot of energy.
All right. And so once again, I need to bring up the other transfer that you have. You have in Kennedy Taylor, obviously sixth player of the year in the Missouri Valley Conference. You didn't have Yoki last night. You wanted to rest her, everything like that, which you're going to hear no complaints from me. but she's bringing something that was missing last season when Yoki went down for those 7 games, and with her trying to get back healthy towards the end of the season and everything like that. It's a different type of aggression with her in the paint that was missing with Yoki not being there. How was her addition? Obviously, not only on the court, but especially off, because she also looked like a true leader out there last night as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's her personality in practice. I mean, she's kind of a laid-back kid in practice, and I think early she was having trouble with the tempo of our practices, quite honestly. And, one of the things that I believe in as a coach, I believe in fast tempo practice. I don't like standing around. It's one of the things that if you come to our practices, we're moving from drill to drill. And quite frankly, Kennedy had trouble with the pace early. But what we liked about her was that it just kept getting better and better. It just kept getting better and better. It went from the summer to the fall. And then when we got in playing, she picked things up pretty quickly. It was a player that we didn't have to, some players require more reps. Some players are visual learners. Some players need film. She really didn't need a lot of reps to understand what each action needed from her. And the other thing that we found to be true from day one is that she's got great instincts on the offensive glass. And that was an area that we really lacked last year. We didn't get a lot of extra possessions when Lee was out of the game. So you're seeing some of this early. She's had a great look to her. She was excited to play Belmont. They were in the same league a year ago. She had some battles with those players a year ago. So that was probably part of her energy last night, was that she was excited to play this game. And she knew how good Belmont was, right? She knew their reputation, knew how good they were in the league.
All right. And so this season, you guys preseason, picked to win the Big 12. And obviously a lot of players coming back, like I mentioned, a lot of experience on this team, not only returning players, but clearly who we just talked about coming out of the transfer portal. How is the team, dealing with that kind of, pressure? But, pressure is always a privilege. That there's a lot to be expected from them this season.
Yeah, I think it's okay. I think they expect a lot from themselves. I think, they expect a lot of whether it be in the classroom or how they handle themselves in the community, all those things. And we always talk about that, you said it, pressure is a privilege, but expectations are a privilege as well. You want people to expect you to strive for excellence. And, where expectations become a problem. And in our society, I hate it that our society is you either are awesome or you suck. And there's no credit given to other teams. We're all too emotional with our teams. I'm too emotional, watching the Kansas City Chiefs, and then I watch other NFL quarterbacks and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're so lucky to have Mahomes, right? And I think that's when expectations become a problem, when you can't enjoy it. And, one of the things I've stressed with our team is that, look, when we're working, let's enjoy working hard together. Let's enjoy this process of us trying to chase championships and excellence. And if we can do that, I'm a big believer in the scores are relevant in terms of the expectations of how we box out, how we hustle, the shots we take, all of those things. And so, if we can keep doing those things, I've liked our approach so far, and I think our group understands they understand that we just got to keep getting better.
Excellent. And I know another thing that was on display last night against Belmont is the depth. I know you've mentioned the depth before. Obviously, you didn't have Yoki last night, didn't have Terrence Sides and everything like that. And so, how does this early into the season be able to test that depth a little bit, especially when you have such expectations?
Yeah, I think while we have depth, what we have is we have quality players. And so, we were shorthanded last night. So our depth did get tested because we don't have a roster of 13, 14 healthy eligible players right now. And so, we played 8 in the game last night. we only had 9 suited for the game, and but the 8 that played very well. They're veteran players. They've played together, and we saw a year ago when Lee went out. One of the things that we saw a year ago was we could small ball with teams. And I think this team's even more capable of doing that. Last night against Belmont, what they tried to do is they tried to small ball Kennedy and Amani, and we went with a really small lineup with Poindexter actually playing the center spot. And we just said, okay, we'll run and gun with you, and we'll small ball it with you. And you could see Poindexter played pretty well.
That she did.
But so did Zy Walker. So did Jalen Glenn. We had some veterans that I think Jalen Glenn's off to a great start. So we had some veterans that played very well.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, what is it? Briley Glenn, she's redshirting this season, right? And she's been a prominent starter for the past couple of seasons, but, talked about the depth for this team this season, right? So what did that conversation look like to, come to that decision that she's going to redshirt?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a surprise to me, especially when you've got a player that started for 3 years now. I think she just felt like, look, I really want to improve my game here. There are things that I'm not happy with. I'm not playing with the confidence. And, that can happen to any player. And, she just expressed, hey, look, I know that we've got a really good team. And I think that if I redshirt, I can really work on my game. And so, it's not you don't usually see that happen with a player like her, but occasionally you'll see a player say, this is the right thing for me at this time. So anyways, she's going to help us on scouts. She's obviously a talented player, and Bradley's a worker. So I have no doubts that the year redshirting could be good for her.
All right. And of course, last question for you. I told you I was going to mention it earlier on. Obviously, got a big game, a really early test with Creighton coming up next week on a Thursday, I think. And talk to me about, you're gonna watch them play tonight, of course, but what's like the early kind of game plan do you think that you guys need to have success against them?
Well, Creighton has been one of the top teams for a long time with Jim. They're top 20 again, and they've got a tough start here. They're at South Dakota State tonight, which is a quality team. 2 of my former assistants are assistants on South Dakota State staff now. So we've got a lot of familiarity there. But, they got one of the top players in melee. Left-hander, can flat shoot it, can mismatch. Their 5-out motion offense is really, really quality. They've all they're one of the programs that they really don't lose many players to the portal ever. They have had 95% of their roster return for the last 4 years. So they got a lot of players that have been in this system for a long time. So, it'll be interesting to see tonight when I do get to watch them to see if there have been some changes, but I wouldn't expect any. Their system has been very, very good. It's a big game. It's a doubleheader with our guys. ESPN2 just picked the game up. It's a Thursday doubleheader. We play Creighton at 5:30, and then our guys play LSU after it. So hopefully we'll have a huge crowd for it, and certainly a good test. And it'll be interesting to see. Now we get 4 or 5 days of practice, and coaches always across the country like having some games. And we like having video evidence of things we're doing well and video evidence of things we need to improve on, because that may help get that message across to players. We've got today off, but we've got practice first thing in the morning. So I'm excited to get back on the floor and get in the film room and make some improvements of where we think we can get better here.
Absolutely. And that's definitely going to be a huge plus to having a big crowd, because were like a lot of good victories were in front of big crowds last season, and we'd love to have that again, because I don't think anyone's going to argue, but y'all are the hottest team in Manhattan.
Well, we got some hot teams.
Look at the rankings, Coach. I'm saying, y'all hotter than fish grease.
Well,
that's you too.
We're just trying to pull our weight in the athletic department, but we're excited about Thursday, and hopefully we'll have Sides and Lee back. That will help. I thought both of them had really good falls, and Taryn, and we won't know. Yoki was held out more precautionary, and Taryn was held out. Taryn tried to go, but wasn't cutting as well as we wanted her to, and so the decision was made that we didn't want to go backwards. So we think that we'll have both of them with a little bit of rest, and we need all hands on deck. We got some great games coming up.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Coach, I'll let you go. So get that notepad ready for watching Creighton tonight, and I really appreciate it. And of course, hope to have you on again later on in the season.
All right, Jazsmin. Hey, get your way over to Manhattan. All right.
Hey, I'm gonna try, man. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna say hi to all of y'all too.
You told me last year you're going to make it to Manhattan.
I did. Please hold me accountable, please.
That highway's not that far. All right, you just.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna need everyone to bully me until I go there. All right.
All right. Let me know. All right. Bye-bye.